3, go. You don't got it?
I'm not hearing any volume from the... Are you playing the song?
I hear it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Street Fight Radio, #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. We are glad that you're here. Wednesday night, time for a street fight. This is the Basement Show. We were doing these live streams on the Patreon as bonus content, but figured the audio is free, the podcast is free. Why shouldn't the stream be free? So enjoy it on all of the platforms that you do. We got one big unified chat, so if you're ready to listen in, you got to want to chime in, head over to YouTube, head over to Twitch, head over to Facebook. There's places to talk to other Street Fighters in the chat. It's the internet. Have you heard about it? It's great.
This internet, what is it?
Thanks for being here. We are broadcasting on live stream, but we normally air our show on WCRS FM in Columbus, Ohio. It's community radio, and we are spreading this mess across the U.S. So blessed to have all of you in on our mission. You know, we voted. Now it's time to complain. Things didn't change, but we are ready to move onward and upward until we can spread our completely non-hierarchical society to every corner of the flat earth. My name is Brett Payne. My co-host is Brian Quinby. Thanks for being here.
What's up? You're welcome. I do that joke every single week. You say, thanks for being here, and I say, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's a
joke.
pleasure.
It's
It's
like
a pleasure.
Joke I do.
It's a pleasure, to be honest.
How you living today?
So far, so good.
Said you had a play date today?
I did. I ended up going on a play date with another parent, which they're tough. But I was telling you, the thing about my daughter's school is that she has a friend that she really, really likes, and her mom has some like questionable like green tattoos. Like it's just only has one tattoo and it's a name, you know?
Is it Terry?
It's just like a 3-letter name, and it's in like the worst placement on like the back of the arm. It's just one of those, I'd never get a tattoo in my life, but one time I got to the point where I got a fucking tattoo.
Yeah, drunk at a party tattoo.
Yeah. So
my wife's got one of those.
So there's another parent, this lady, she's pretty cool. She told me that one of the casual conversations we had before was that someone was drinking before 11 a.m., had 6 beers before 11 a.m. in front of her kid, and she was wondering if that's like a bad message to send.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, it's not you, but yeah, some people do live that way, and it doesn't, always pan out. But we ended up going to this park, and in the parking lot, there was a group of 3 young black teens, and she goes over to get a soccer ball and a basketball and comes back, and she said, damn, I smelled some bomb weed over there. And she's like, but I felt bad because they all rushed into the car, so they probably thought I was going to tell on them.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's cool. That was neat.
Not telling on them is a good sign.
Yeah, and she didn't think they were criminals. She was just like, oh man, I just harshed their buzz. I'm such a fucking buzzkill.
Yeah. That's cool though. That's good. When I was doing my job as father, I had to do the same thing you did. Go to the park every day after school and stand with the other moms.
Yep.
Just chill.
It is all moms.
It is. You always think like things are moving in a different direction. There's really a lot more men staying home with their kids. It was me and one other guy.
Right.
And we weren't ever there at the same time either.
Right.
It was like just the 2 of us. And you'd be standing there with the moms. I had a bunch of friends that were moms. They're all sweet. I still like them. I think they hate them. They think I hate them because I don't show up to anything now. But that's just because I have a real job. Back then, I am a real job. You know what I mean? I was a homemaker was my job, so I had to be at everything.
They're also probably worried some of my Facebook screeds are targeted at them.
That's a good possibility. I don't know, though. I always think that, too. Like,
there's a Mueller lib.
Yeah.
There's a lady that came today and was like, I've been melting down all fucking day because I just found out that Trump fired Jeff Sessions today. Yeah. And he was going to do something, and that's just messing up the Mueller investigation. I'm like, wow, man, sounds crazy.
Did you tell her Mueller works for the FBI, though, and Jeff Sessions was a huge racist. So I don't think those are people you should be behind.
I didn't say anything. I just shook my head and was like, I don't know who these people are really.
So you're pretty
except
lucky.
for Jeff Sessions. I'll you know what I said actually? I said sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. I said, well, at least weed might be safe for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true though. So you're pretty like lucky in a way. We live in two very different neighborhoods, me and you, right? Like you live in a part of town that is sort of, you live by the tracks.
Yes.
Right? So whatever they say, the wrong side of the tracks or whatever, you live literally, I can hear the trains go by while
Right.
we do the show. And I get caught by trains all the time when I'm driving home.
Yeah.
I live in like a fortress, right?
Yes.
Like you described it last week that like my neighborhood, when you drive out of it, is like driving like when people escape from prison and there's
a watchtower. No, there's a cop that sits in the road everywhere. Like every time you leave town, it's just like, well, the watchful eye of the Grandview police are on me just like every night. It's like checking in and out with a guard.
So what's wild is this woman is with you and she's like, it smells like bomb weed. I'm sad that I messed up their time.
Yeah.
All they ever talked about, and look, not as many cops here where Brett's at. It's just not as they don't drive around as much here. You know, it's Columbus Police Department.
Sure.
They have a lot more space than the Grandview Police Department.
Right. It's not just like you have like a rowdy crew.
Yeah.
Of like a dozen. I mean, how many are there?
I think there's like 5 of them, but it's only like 3 square miles. So.
Yeah. They keep it locked up.
Yeah. They don't bother you if you live there though. Like that's this thing about my neighborhood is if you live there, I think they know. Yeah. They kind of know people. So like my car isn't like I drive a 2015 Kia Soul and I think they see it and know it's me. You know what I mean? Like they've seen me so many times driving in and out.
It's late model too. I mean, as long as you don't have anything if you have anything that was made before 2000 though, you're getting pulled over.
Oh my God. Yeah. You see it all
the
time.
Like 93, when I had my Toyota, it was like, I got pulled over a couple times in Grandview.
Yeah.
Just like, what are you doing type thing.
So I live in this like fortress where like, there's just no crime, Brett. The only crime that happens is teens rummage through my car.
Right. They steal sunglasses and change.
Yeah. And I'm 100% sure it's teens. Like it's nobody to be afraid of. If I happened to be standing outside, they would run. They wouldn't even look at the car.
I left my purse and my keys in the van last night, all night long.
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens.
I mean, it's easier. Plus there's a light behind my house that for some reason is never on in the alley. We have a there's like a light out there. But anyway, so when we would go to the playground and play, if a male that didn't look perfectly like clean or whatever like that walked by, they assumed he was a sex creep.
Oh, really?
Every time, dude. If anybody walked through that park, they were like, look at this sex creep over here. Has anybody called the police to let them know that there's a sex creep walking around this park? And it was like, holy shit, guys.
Johnny Pedo over here.
That's how they acted, dude.
Yeah.
And it was all the time. It was like, oh, look, it's a pedophile walking through this park. It is nice that, like, your people aren't automatically like, let's get the police over here.
Right.
Have them sit here. Who knows what that guy over at that bar is? Because there's a bar right across the street from the playground.
That's true. That's true. It's true.
A scuzzbag bar, too. It's not like a nice, like, you don't hang out at that bar if you ain't from where I live. Put it like that.
And a lot of the people in town that have, like, stretched out collars on their shirts is who drinks there. People that's, like, the elastic on their T-shirt is ripped.
Everybody I know that has gone there has left and said, don't go there. I've eaten there twice. But it's like, I don't even go in there because people are like, don't go into fucking Marshall's, dude.
My wife loves it so much. And she'll always ask to go there. And it's just pretty generic breakfast food. But I'm like, it's disgusting because they have koi fish aquariums in there. And I'm like eating fucking hash browns. And I can just hear the bubbling of the aquarium. And I'm just thinking all the algae and fish shit is just bubbling into the air. And we're just all like inhaling.
You can smell it too. It smells like you're where there's it smells like you're where there's fish.
I don't eat at aquariums. I don't eat at strip clubs. I don't eat in those environments.
Yeah.
Like if the air could just have something in it.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's such
But
a
yeah, that
weird
makes
difference between
Yeah.
neighborhoods.
But you're right. I mean, there's people there that don't have kids that want to have a drink at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and maybe it's their day off, and they're going to go stumble around a park like every fucking drunk person deserves the right to do.
right, and it's a park with a path right
Yeah,
through
you can
it.
walk it. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not like an out of the way place. That's like what I'm trying to say.
they tore up that whole intersection to add all those like walkable paths
I know.
and shit
I know.
to make it so that you could like walk.
No, don't do that if you're a single
Where's
man.
this guy? What's he do? Yeah, they get scared of. What are they doing? They got classic patriarchy going on over there.
Well, they called it. Well, again, very liberal school district. I mean, as liberal as it gets. It's like
That's
the
true.
conservative nightmare of what a school district is. But they have a Christmas party. They have a Christmas play. They do all the stuff the conservatives say you can't do anymore. They don't have a winter party. They have a motherfucking Christmas party there. It's a public school.
Yeah.
And like, it just for me is like, you know what? We need to ask Milo actually, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just as an aside, we need to ask if Jehovah's Witnesses are allowed to do the winter party. That's not really a holiday.
It's not a
just
celebration.
Call it the winter party.
Why
It's
don't-
just a party.
Yeah, we have to get the
we need the scoop on that. Is that a good loophole?
I think the only way they can celebrate is like amongst themselves, but we should get the answer.
okay,
to
well,
that.
it sounds like a loophole. That's all.
Charlotte, my wife, made the mistake, and God bless her because she doesn't know any better. She bought this gigantic sign and all these balloons that said Happy Halloween really huge, and the teacher was like, yeah, this is definitely a Halloween party that we're having, but we can't say that. It's a fall party, and we can't have the word Halloween actually written on anything.
Lib school.
Yeah.
Lib school. I mean,
That's, yeah,
you're in a real. That's like I'm in a small town, dude. I might as well live in Maybury.
it is.
You know, except for they think it's crawling with sex creeps.
That's true. Well, they're raising them.
It's like Mayberry, a town crawling with. There's just every single person that doesn't have a child is a sex creep.
Yeah.
We did pass a levy, so might as well go into the vote talk, right? We voted yesterday.
Yes.
Brett and I did vote, which is not usual. I actually got a voter report card, Brett. And it
Okay.
said I'm a below average
I saw
voter.
that. I got one of those in the mail too.
I voted in 2010 and then not again after that.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on in 2010 where I felt like I needed to vote, but that was when.
Right. I figured it is very easy to do, and they sent it to my house. They sent me a letter in the mail that said, if you send a letter back, we'll let you do it by mail. And I was like, it's fucking perfect because I go to the post office every day. I'm not going to go to the voting booth. So
Yeah.
I just mailed it in.
I went to the booth.
You went to
You
the
know?
booth.
Yeah.
Did you get one of those fucked up funky ones where they wouldn't let you vote for your candidate?
Well, one, they had me sign
Was it with
an
Debo?
iPad to get in.
Okay.
Okay. So they had a tablet. They said you're gonna have to sign this fucking tablet. They swipe my card, my ID. They swipe them now. I'm like, I don't like that. Come on. What
My
are you gonna
dad-
swipe for. Just look at it.
Yeah, my dad used to always scratch it up, and then on those magnetic pads where it says "Do not place your IDs" on there, he would totally get a new one and just slap it right on that pad.
Why? Why did
He was
do
like,
that?
"I want you to punch in the numbers. I don't
Yeah.
want you to run. I don't want you to have the digital thing. You punch in the fucking numbers."
That's a king level thing for your dad. I need to do that. I don't know why I don't do it because it's harder, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like when we were in what's it called?
Well, yeah, because he used to get away with so much more shit. You know, when he in his days, like they didn't have numbers on everybody.
yeah, and they just had like the regular old like laminated piece of paper.
Yeah,
card,
yeah,
too.
exactly. Yeah,
I never had one of those. I
didn't
had a magnetic strip the first time I got a card. It was very,
Yeah.
and like of course back then people were like that's some Illuminati shit.
it is. It's the mark of the beast, basically.
It's Mark of the Beast, of course. Issue 1 was a thing here. We talked about it on the other show. I think I also talked about it on another podcast.
Explain. Yeah, issue 1 was basically what are those called? Amendments or levies or what do they call it?
Issue, like an
It's the issue.
Yeah.
So the issue was whether or not we should be giving people felonies for drug use, and this would get rid of all felonies for drug possession, not for selling, just for drug possession. Let some people out of jail. It was pretty expansive. I read something. It was like 6 years in the making that they had been working on getting this thing together and proposing it, and it was pretty drastic harm reduction, especially for Ohio. I mean, of course, there's more fucking liberal places in the world, but for Ohio, it seemed like a pretty good step in the right direction.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't even know what it is. Like,
it had problems, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I saw lots of radical people shred it, and that's fine.
But it was just like anything that like keeps people out of jail. Like, I can't say like, well, at least this is going to keep some people out of jail.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
and the thing about it is, if that felony conviction changes somebody's life forever, because they don't ever go away. There's jobs you can't get. There's judgments that you can't ever get past, man. I know a guy that was like a brilliant fucking chef that killed somebody accidentally in a fucking fight and defending, somebody that was getting jumped. And he spent 10 years unable to move any further in his career because he had all these opportunities and people that were trying to poach him to do these bigger, better jobs. And it was like, you can't do it because you have a felony on your record,
Right. There's just even jobs you're not allowed to have. You can't get public housing. You can't get public benefits. And
landlords check it.
You can't
School
vote.
checks it. You can't vote. Yeah, it fucks your life up forever. I mean, and like you're left with crime basically if you want to get ahead.
It's like if that passed, I wasn't going to be like, oh, well, this is it. We're done. We won a victory. You know? When people said they didn't like it. And like, I don't like forced treatment at all. I just feel like that's going to be the thing we have to. It's like when we had to fight for medical marijuana in order to get recreational marijuana. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
So it failed. And I just, there was a lot of scare tactics about it too.
Was there? Oh, yes.
So
yes, I saw that.
Somebody told me that judges were telling their juries to vote against it. I assume that's because judges didn't want power taken away from them. They took away a tool. Law enforcement was against it. They assumed that all the heroin dealers were going to move to Ohio.
Right.
A lot of people were mad because there wasn't an exception for fentanyl because of the... of course, it's just that fentanyl thing. They have convinced people that it's it's poison.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, they there was some sort of ad that came up that said something like that someone could have enough fentanyl to kill X amount of people, like thousands of people, and get away with it if issue 1 passed.
Yeah. I'm frustrated because I saw a lot of people that voted against it that were like drug users that I did drugs with. That like
but that's what drives a lot. I mean, that's what's driving this though. First of all, when I looked at this thing, the public should not be fucking deciding this. The public has no idea what the best and most cutting edge treatments and the best way to get people better. They have no fucking clue. They're running all on self-righteous anger. And like you said, a lot of them are previous drug users. And they now, because they didn't go to jail for it, are able to say that it's a moral failing on the part of people that use drugs. And that they deserve the punishment they get because they know there's a punishment. And they stop doing it to go work 50 hours at some fucking awful locksmith or something.
Or be a handyman. A lot of guys I went to high school with that were like totally like, always in trouble and stuff like that, just have a handyman LLC. Like, I'm a handyman, I just do whatever. I'll just come there and fix.
I'll do anything.
I think a thing that has bothered me about it the most is how inhumane it is to put somebody in jail for using drugs. And I think everybody feels that way. I don't think that a lot of the people that I saw that were saying that this was a bad thing from the right, the conservative law and order types that were saying this, I don't think they were really saying people should go to jail for doing drugs. They were making an assumption that most people that do drugs end up doing violence, assault, or
crime.
theft.
Yeah.
And to me, that is something that I feel I went right on afterwards and said, I use drugs. I love drugs. I'm a drug user.
Yeah.
And I do think that if I know that 90% of the people that listen to this show can't do that. Or 99% of the people listening to this show really probably can't do that. The only people that really can do that are the other people making a living as a podcaster or comedian.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that if you can say, like, I'm the average drug user.
Right.
The average drug user isn't stabbing people.
Yeah, and you find somebody that is maybe using hard drugs for, a period in their life. Plenty of people do it for a very short amount. It's just a chapter in their life. You know, you lose a couple years to something like that, and then you come out a different person.
Yeah.
You know, it's not all misery.
Yeah, it's an experience. For a lot of people, there's an experience. You just go through phases of use, I guess.
And if, for you, for example, in the height of your use, if you would have been pulled over and charged with a felony for every pill you had, when you were like, say, you were the guy that could get the pills, and you're like, well, fuck it, man, we'll get a bulk deal going and I'll make mine or get mine for free or whatever. You're not, like, most of the drug dealers out here are not kingpins. That's old days. People are doing it to just get, just to use for free,
Yeah.
People are hooking people up, and then you take someone that does that and then decides they don't want to do it anymore, and you've now added this new timeline where you charge them with a fucking felony and throw them in a cage, and you fuck with people, man. It changes human beings as an animal when you throw them behind fucking bars.
I mean, shit, we don't even have to, I don't even have to play on sort of the heartstrings for people that, like, had I gone to jail when I was carrying around 30, 40 pills, like 30 or 40 Percocets without a script, like, that I could have gone to jail. I don't even want people to feel bad for me in that case, because I did know the risk, but my family would have had to operate without me for the time that I spent in jail too. And then your family suffers because of things that the police did, not because of a thing that I did. I was supporting my family. So a lot of these people are I tend to believe that most of the people that are using drugs aren't these destroyed people. You only see like a small percentage of the people who do drugs, because as we started this conversation talking about, only like a small percentage of us can say that we use them. And then there's another percentage of us that are being prescribed things and using them recreationally, who don't consider ourselves drug users. So you think about like these moms and shit who are popping Xanax and drinking a fucking bottle of Chardonnay every night. That's fucking partying, dude.
Yeah, that's getting down. Yeah. I mean, that's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. So you just think about the average drug user is not a dangerous person. It doesn't need to be locked up. And and if you're arguing like for conservative shit, it doesn't concern you what I'm doing. You're not paying for me. You don't have any, I don't have any bearing on you. I'm not fucking bothering you. I'm high. I'm at home high by myself.
Yeah. People are usually just, they're at home.
It's just moralizing. It just bothers the shit out of me.
And you buy a $10 craft beer every single fucking night. That's the same amount as using some other shit every couple other days or whatever it is, or on the weekend. It's just where you want to spend your money.
So let's take a look at. I actually saw this article. I mean, just talking about these. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find something on my damn computer. I just read this damn book. It's this creative writing from these women at this York County correctional facilities. This creative writing class. They got to kind of write about their life or write about a story in their life.
Yeah.
And it's fucking incredible because, the amount of shit that people go through, that we shared experience that is like really awful, terrible things when you're talking about violence and sexual violence and all that shit. And we have so many self-righteous, judgmental ass people that just can't accept that kind of thing changes people or pushes them towards drug use and shit like that in the heavy fucking manners. There's some people that had some horrible fucking lives.
Yeah, a lot of people
and they end up in jail. Jail's where we put them, but they need a lot more than that. They had nothing. That's the only reason they ended up in jail, because there was nothing else, for a lot of people.
I mean, I told the story when it happened, but I don't think as many people were listening because it was like 2014. But when I was in college, I had to go to book. When I was in college, I had to go to the jail for a field trip sort of thing, for a deviance course. and we went and did a tour of the jail. And one of the guys we spoke to was the psychiatrist at the jail, and I think he was actually a therapist. I don't want to say he was a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And he was wearing I never forget, he was wearing Bartman Chuck Taylors on his feet, and then scrubs. It was like his whole deal. And one of the things
What the fuck?
One of the things he said that was incredible to me was that he said, you know, a lot of people think jail is the worst possible thing that can happen to somebody, but I'm here to tell you that when people come in here, we give them, they're going to get mental help. They're going to be checked to see if they're fine mentally. And this is the only place for some of those people to go. And I was like, that is a failing. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's not like a good thing. Like, I'm not smiling. It's punishment. Jail is punishment. And then you're telling me that you're punishing people for mental illness. That's what you're saying.
Well, and and the other thing is true. The book is called, that I just read, is called Couldn't Keep It to Myself, Testimonies from Our Imprisoned Sisters. It's good. But there's people that talk about how before the 90s, before like the like hammer came down, they were allowed to fucking fish in like the creek nearby and clean it and cook it and eat it at the fucking prison.
That's like Ronald Reagan shit, though.
Yeah.
That's what Ronald Reagan. It's funny because they talk about like that morning and like they when you see a documentary about Ronald Reagan or anything, they make it seem like just the brightest time. It's like, oh, how wonderful things were when Ronald
so
Reagan
extravagant.
it was just nice. It was like those were the heyday of the 80s. Everybody was just partying and feeling
Wearing
good.
neon.
But that is what fucked people up. That whole time when the war on drugs started, they started killing people, ruining people.
Yeah.
And
Bill Clinton came in with Joe Biden came in with that 3 strikes.
Right. And then now they say what they did was they also, just the way that they talked, the rhetoric around it, turned people into fucking monsters. And like, they turn these law and order people into these monsters that are like, they have cable TV in prison.
Right.
I don't have cable TV. And it just turned into a thing where now you're running a fucking prison. You can't give any comfort at all because people find out that those people are being treated humanely. It pisses them off. And I don't know what these people are. I don't know who these fucking monsters are. I've spoken to them.
I know,
and I know how cruel they are.
They
love people, right? Like, they have people in this world that they love. They've experienced bad things. They've had tough times in their life, haven't they?
This is a chance for them to feel better about themselves, though. This is a chance for them to say, I was on the same path as you. I'm so much better than you, though.
Yeah.
I didn't end up in a prison cell. You know? Like, that's what that's why 60% of the people in Ohio voted for that shit.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of them do know the situation, but don't want to engage with it in any sort of meaningful way, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
It just feels like so ugly and self-righteous to me that they came out like that. And I commented on some fucking Hicks in Newark page, this chick who's cool. She's cool. I used to work with her, but she got the conversation started about why she thought it should be passed. And it was just like so many fucking camouflage avatars coming through with some ugly fucking responses.
And people that
shoot your local heroin dealer type dudes.
People that probably don't live, I mean, they live in Newark or something like that, where it's like that's the thing, is these communities have been devastated by this thing. By this thing, but the community that we're talking about used to house like a Longaberger factory where you could make a shitload of money. There was a lot of industry that used to be there that's now not there. Yeah, and
there's the people that stayed there. There's no future on the horizon.
Well, it's one of the places they flooded with those pills, and that's the thing we don't talk about enough, is that, like, I mean, people talk about it, but they flooded the world. They flooded this part of the country with those pills, and now there are people hooked on them. Yeah, and they're hopeless, and they live in a hopeless place where there's nothing happening. There's no there's no hope. There's nothing to work toward.
Yeah, I mean, you can jump into the big box store lifestyle, or drive an hour away. When there was people that used to drive about 45 minutes to work at the warehouse when I worked there.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people that also drove an hour and 15 every day to get to the warehouse.
Right,
So-
and make $9 an hour.
And make
too.
nine-
You're not the-
$9.50.
When you
They
say
get the
like
shift
warehouse,
diff.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you say warehouse, people probably tend to think it's $12, $13, $14 an hour. I worked at that same warehouse and made $7.50.
Yeah.
So it's not big money. It's cheaper to live out there, but the gas isn't any cheaper.
Well, they
It's
would
just-
say. I mean, on the guys that I knew all carpooled. There was 4 different dudes that carpooled from like Nelsonville.
Yeah, it's just it's hopeless. It's a really rough place to be in.
It is.
And I
I mean, you
I
can make
sympathize.
it your enclave, but yeah, there's not a lot of options. you
Yeah.
know?
But it would be very nice if they had any kind of like I know they've lost people, right? Like I know that people have died. That's something that I thought about with issue 1. Something that occurred to me when I was waiting for that to happen was I thought it was going to pass because I felt that so many people have lost people here that they're ready to try something new. But I guess not. I
They
guess a lot of
think
people aren't ready to try
People,
something
it's
new.
not harsh enough. It hasn't
Yeah.
gotten harsh enough yet for
Yeah.
people to really feel like, you know.
It's just so many people have fucking relatives in jail. So many grandmas are raising children and
Oh,
stuff.
I know.
And it's all because of this. It's all this thing. And we could fix that. Like that could all be taken care of. Like
If we
this
t-
bill might not have done it, but it would have been a step in a direction of not, you know, now they're going to build another prison, dude.
Sure.
That was another thing about this bill is like, if it passed, then they're considering building another prison now. Like they got to fill that fucking thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's
a
so-
disappointment, and yeah, it's something that shouldn't even be up to the regular public's vote. It's something that belongs in the hands of people that have some reasonability, whatever that word is. It's like drinkability.
Yeah. So, I guess I want to talk about this article that came out in the New York Times this Saturday.
I don't read it.
I know you don't read
I'd
it. I
wipe
didn't
my ass
expect
with
you
that.
to have read it, but I bet you did actually probably read this story or kind of checked it. We're not going to do the whole thing here, but it was something we've been hitting the cops pretty hard on
Sure.
the show and have been talking about how they police protests and things like that. And I just, you didn't happen to come upon this? U.S. law enforcement failed to see this threat of white nationalism, and now they don't know how to stop it.
I didn't see
Is
that
this
one.
article.
No,
Okay.
no.
So I just want to maybe we'll do the whole thing. I don't know yet. I want to give an explanation for what it is to you first, that just simply before I read it. So this guy, let's read the first paragraph. The first indication to Lieutenant Dan Stout that law enforcement's handling of white supremacy was broken came in September 2017, as he was sitting in an emergency operations center in Gainesville, Florida, preparing for the onslaught of Hurricane Irma and watching what felt like his 1,000th YouTube video of the recent violence in Charlottesville, Virginia. Jesus Christ, he thought, studying the footage in which crowds of angry men who had gathered to attend or protest the Unite the Right rally set upon one another with sticks and flagpole spears and flamethrowers and God knows what else. A black man held an aerosol can, igniting the spray, and in retaliation a white man picked up his gun, pointed it toward the black man, and fired it at the ground. The Virginia state troopers inexplicably stood by and watched. Stout fixated on this image, wondering what kind of organizational failure had led to the debacle. He had 1 month to ensure that the same thing didn't happen in Gainesville. So this guy, this cop, okay, he sees this happening.
Yeah, and he's like, "This is coming to my town."
This is coming to my town, right? And most cops, when these things come to their town, they get a Facebook, right? They get a dossier on
Yes,
all the
yes.
people that are coming. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
And he goes, "Hey, can I get one of the people, of the relevant actors that could happen in this thing?"
Right? Who's planning on who just tweeted out that they bought their tickets?
They didn't have one for the right wing. They had them for Antifa.
They only looked
And
up us.
they didn't have them for the right wing. So
He had no idea what shit stores were coming from the right.
well, all he knew the celebrity ones.
Okay.
He didn't know the I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix the pop filter right now. Is it better, Jason?
A little bit of latency
Oh, okay. There were no current intelligent reports he could find on the alt-right, the sometimes violent fringe movement that embraces white nationalism and a range of racist positions. The state police couldn't offer much insight. Things were equally bleak at the federal level. Whatever the FBI knew, which wasn't a lot, Stout suspected, they weren't sharing. The Department of Homeland Security, which produced regular intelligence and threat assessments for local law enforcement, had only scant material on white supremacists. All of it vague and ultimately not much help. Local politicians, including the governor, were also in the dark. This is like a Bermuda Triangle of intelligence, Stout thought, incredulous. He reached out to their state partners. So you're telling me that there's nothing? No names we can plug into an automatic license plate readers? No players with a propensity for violence? No one you have in the system? Nothing. So they didn't have any.
Right, they didn't bother.
Nothing.
Well, they're on their side.
I know. It's so.
They're not a threat to them.
It's so obvious. One of those coming to Gainesville, this is the part that was interesting to me. One of them coming to Gainesville was William Frears, a 31-year-old from Houston. Fears, who online went by variations of the handle Antagonizer, was one of the most dedicated foot soldiers of the alt-right. Countless YouTube videos had captured his progress over the past year as he made his way from protest to protest across several states, flinging Nazi salutes, setting off smoke bombs, and from time to time attacking people. Fears was also a felon. He had spent 6 years in prison for aggravated kidnapping in a case involving his ex-girlfriend, and now he had an active warrant for his arrest after his new girlfriend accused him of assault less than 2 weeks earlier. On October 18th, the night before the event, Fears and a few other from Houston's white nationalist scene got in Fears' silver Jeep Patriot for the 14-hour drive. Fears' friend Tyler Tenbrink, who pled guilty to assault in 2014, posted a video from their trip on his Facebook page. There were 4 men, 2 of them felons, and 2 9mm handguns. Texans always carried, Fears said later. So
the police have no idea this is happening.
They didn't know the guy, and they didn't even go and look to see. Like, these guys are bringing guns, and I'm not totally. They are felons, right?
Sure.
And if they were on my side, if they were on our side, and they were felons, then that would be something.
Sure.
They would have found them.
Well, I think for me, it's whether or not you're bringing a gun is the more important question there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's more indicative of your intentions.
Yeah, you are looking to get into a fight. I'm gonna have to hold this mic to do this. I don't know how my mic stand sucks. Gainesville would be Spencer's first major public appearance since the violence of the Unite the Right rally 2 months before, and the city, a progressive enclave in the heart of deep red North Florida, was on edge. Anticipating chaos, Governor Rick Scott declared a state of emergency, prompting Spencer to tweet out an image of his head making its way across the Atlantic towards Florida. Hurricane Spencer. A few days before the event, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement sent out a small bound threat book of about 20 or so figures, most of them openly affiliated with Spencer or with anti-fascist groups, which Stout knew from his own research meant that they weren't the people to worry about. Anonymous online chatter on sites like 4chan, meanwhile, described armed right-wing militants coming to Gainesville to test Florida's Stand Your Ground law. Stout envisioned 20 white supremacists with long guns. We're screwed, he thought. So he basically was like, so this guy is like, these guys are coming to Florida.
Yeah.
And they're openly, we're going to test Florida's Stand Your Ground laws.
Yeah,
that is what they posted it, dude.
Right.
They posted it on fucking line. Do we need to remind you of what happened to Jake?
Right.
Like, just from the show, like, he posted something way more innocuous than that.
Yeah.
And he's still going through shit. He still needs money. They're $10,000 fucking dollars in, and they're looking at $10,000 more dollars for this thing. And these fucking guys just get to go out. They just get to go out and put IEDs on the side of the road. They are fucking terrorists, dude.
No, they had snipers set up.
Yeah.
At that Patriot Prayer bullshit that they found. We talked about it a couple shows ago, but the level of violence that they're at and the absolute cowardice of people to not take a goddamn stand and say that they're fucking disproportionately doing this shit, you know? We have all these fucking centrists and these reasonable people and like Mueller libs, and they're really fucking infuriating when they start saying that everybody's too radical right now.
Yeah.
Because everybody, you know, I mean, I'll tell you what I feel about this motherfucking voting thing is it feels like it's a goddamn TV show. And these people are so invested in this fucking TV show while the fucking building is on fire.
Yes, yes.
And they aren't willing to come to terms with what fucking life is right now and trying to plan something that isn't just going and buying shit every fucking weekend and you know, having a glass of wine after work.
Buying,
you know,
green
or a beer.
Shit.
I'm
buying a green thing.
I bought stainless steel straws, so
yeah. Yeah. And they yell at me every 2 years to vote. They can't stop yelling at me every 2 years to go vote in a midterm or an election.
And time and time again, when you look at it soberly, you can see that gerrymandering and all of the disproportionate ways that the disgusting, ugly, rude people of our society are able to uphold the white supremacy and the patriarchy and all of the things that were the foundation of this fucking system that everybody is so intent on being a fucking part of.
Right, and you can't win with you're not going to win with those people.
No,
right? Like
the Democrats are born losers. They don't want to win. Republicans have the will to fucking win. Republicans have a blank piece of paper and they're standing in front of the fucking class and they say, I wrote a report on this book, and they do a whole goddamn fake report and pass the class and get to go on, and they are beating the shit out of us, man.
Yeah.
Like our shit is not popular.
No,
it's fucking
we try. The Spencer speech turned out to be a bust thanks to an audience so determined to drown him out at one point that they erupted in a chant of orange, blue, as if at a Gators football game. Afterward, the crowd left the auditorium and flooded back onto Hull Road, the long avenue leading toward the center of campus. Thousands of protesters surrounded the small group of Spencer acolytes. Tenbrink, a sinewy young man wearing a black t-shirt and jeans, was particularly overwhelmed and jumped a barricade to escape the angry crowd. The police put him in handcuffs and escorted him to the parking garage. Then, for reasons that remain unclear, they uncuffed Tenbrink and walked him out of the garage and toward the parking lot and let him go. Neither Tenbrink nor his friends were in the threat book. That is a guy that had a 9mm. That is a guy that came to start trouble.
Yeah.
He came to fight. They always say Antifa comes to fight. Those guys come to fight. They come to, they said, antagonizer is the fucking guy's name. There are several versions of what happened after Tenbrink was released.
And they're the ones taking it to that level. Like, how many stories do we have of Antifa running up in a Nazi meeting or a Proud Boys meeting and shooting the fucking place up?
None. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they yell at them. They show up and yell. If you can't handle being yelled at, being a Nazi is probably not the thing that you should do. Maybe play video games or something like that. Like, do anything else. There are several versions of what happened after Tenbrink was released. It was about 5:15 p.m. The Texans drove down Archer Avenue, the broad street bordering the south edge of campus, about a mile from the secured area. A group of protesters were sitting at a bus stop. The men in the Jeep started shouting Heil Hitler. According to the police report and several witness statements, do you know my friend Heil? Heil Hitler. Get it? The men started throwing Nazi salutes.
Great.
One of the protesters had come to Gainesville armed with a retractable baton. When the Texans began to harass them, he grabbed his baton and struck a window on the SUV. My life and the lives of those around me was at risk, he told the police. Will Fears jumped out. I'm about to beat this dude up with his own frickin' expandable baton, he later recalled. Suddenly, witnesses said a man later identified as Tenbrink jumped from the vehicle holding a handgun. Shoot him, the Texans were heard yelling. Tenbrink pointed the gun at the protester.
Holy shit. See, this is and they just no one is seriously talking about it. Everybody's avoiding this. This is what I mean. The motherfucking game. But I feel from both sides. Like, this time everybody seems so fucking mad at us. Like, I felt just being talked down to the whole time. I had somebody, a fucking Democrat person that I know I cut him deep on my post because they posted like 4 fucking responses that were just, were directed towards me.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the one said at the end, by the end of it, they were just so exasperated. They said, "Shut up and go vote, hippie." That's what it's,
Hippie?
yeah. It's like, that's a fucking expletive now.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys and gals need to stop with the fucking signs and the protests. You need to stop going out there and confronting people that bring guns to fucking protests,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
want to genocide people and are making waves in the government.
It takes no risk, but these people actually have people inside of the government
Right.
working for them, and they're working
you
to
s-
get there. And
Did
they're
you see the Europa guys in the White House?
yeah, I did not see that, but
Somebody posted a picture of it, of the Identity Europa guy was shown going into the White House.
yeah. And
He's the guy that set up the torch people that said Jews will not replace us.
yeah, and they're doing a thing where like they're legitimizing this as the legitimate right wing.
Oh, yeah.
So now we are not arguing with we're not arguing with the type of Republicans that they think we're arguing with, like these honorable. We never were, by the way. Like, there was never a time where politicians were honorable and we're having an honorable debate and we may have our differences, but dang it, we all want America to succeed. We are arguing with fucking racists and Nazis.
Yeah, right.
And with their voices are completely legitimized, and they're above the fucking law.
Yeah.
They will take their handcuffs. They'll put them in a parking garage and take their fucking handcuffs off and just let them go.
Right.
So a little later on in this article, I'm gonna move toward. Here, let's. So I'm gonna move towards the other part of it, and in March 2018, a 20-year-old white evangelical Christian named Mark Anthony Condit laid a series of homemade IEDs around Austin, Texas, in largely minority communities. The bombs killed 2 African Americans and injured at least 4 others over the course of several weeks, terrorizing the city, yet the local authorities preferred to describe Condit, who committed suicide, as a very challenged young man. Also last spring, another white man, 28-year-old Benjamin Morrow, blew himself up in his apartment in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, while apparently constructing a bomb. Federal investigators said Morrow's apartment doubled as a homemade explosives laboratory. There was a trove of white supremacist literature in Morrow's home, according to the FBI, but local cops, citing Morrow's clean-cut demeanor and standout record as a quality control manager at a local food processing plant, made sure to note that just because he had this material didn't mean he was a white supremacist. He could have been an individual that was just doing research, the local police chief said. They are on their side.
Yeah.
That is why they can't find him. They're the same fucking people.
Boys will be boys. We all have our little bouts with white supremacy. We like a good racist jingle every now and then.
So I just need 1 second.
Motherfucker, this was another one that hasn't come up too, is, man, that Louisville shooting is fucking insane. That guy tried to break into a church. He was going to try to go to a black church to kill people. He ends up killing 2 people in a fucking Kroger. Vicky Lee Jones, Maurice C. Stollard were the people he killed. But that happened last week too, and I'm still feeling that the Democrats and the libs are not grasping on what's going on right now and aren't addressing it head on. They aren't fucking willing to do the work. Then they're clueless. And they're, like I said, born losers. Every one of them is born losers. They have no will to fucking win. They want to think that they can cooperate with these fucking people.
Yeah, there's no cooperation.
They want to dominate you. They spend their entire day talking about gassing liberals, like in people and Democrats and anybody that even in the slightest is okay with, any non-traditional values.
You want to do bipartisanship with those people. That's
they
want to
vote. They want to get into a big pot and say, let's vote on the best idea.
So this goes through, they talked to a guy from a think tank from the ADA, the Anti-Defamation League, ADL. And in 2016, the latest full year of data available from the FBI, more than 6,100 hate crime incidents were reported. 4,270 of them were crimes against people as opposed to, say, defacing property, and yet only 27 federal hate crime defendants were prosecuted that year. The FBI knows how many bank robberies there were last year, said Michael German, an author of the Brennan Center report and a former FBI agent, but it doesn't know how many white supremacists attacked people, how many they injured or killed. More concerning to German, though, is that law enforcement seems uninterested in policing the violent far right. During the first year after Donald Trump's election, protests and riots erupted across the country, often involving men with criminal histories who by definition were on the law enforcement radar. During the so-called Battle of Berkeley in March 2017, for instance, a far-right agitator named Kyle Chapman became a hero to the alt-right after he reportedly pummeled an anti-fascist counter-protester with a billy club. Chapman was a 41-year-old who had 2 previous felony convictions. He proceeded to travel around the country engaging in violence at other protests, now under the online moniker Based Stickman, a cheerful reference to the Berkeley attacks. Chapman was one of a number of known white supremacists to align with the Proud Boys, a national men's movement founded in 2016 by the anti-immigrant Western chauvinist Gavin McInnes, a founder of Vice Media. There was also the Rise Above movement, an alt-right group composed largely of ex-cons, many with ties to Southern California's racist skinhead movement. Over the past 2 years, each group engaged in violent confrontations with their ideological enemies. A lengthy list, including African Americans, Jews, Muslims, non-white immigrants, members of the LGBT community, and the progressive left, and generally escaped punishment. This changed to a degree over the past few weeks when, after a year-long campaign by journalists at ProPublica and other media outlets, federal prosecutors filed charges against 8 members of RAM, including 2 of its leaders. Similarly, after a pressure campaign on social media, the New York Police Department arrested and charged 6 members of the Proud Boys in connection with an assault after a speech by McInnes at a Republican club in Manhattan on October 12th. On his podcast, McInnes noted that he has a lot of support in the NYPD. In at least one instance, the police have in fact coordinated with far-right groups. In 2017, a law enforcement official stationed at a rally in downtown Portland, Oregon, turned to a member of a far-right militia group and asked for his assistance in cuffing a left-wing counter-protester who had been tackled by a Proud Boy. So they're like enlisting their help. They're just like
deputizing them.
Allowing them to do vigilante justice, you know. This article goes on to talk about in 2009, there was a report in that the Department of, in April 2009, the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Intelligence and Analysis issued a report warning of a rise in right-wing extremism. The department is the country's largest law enforcement body, created after September 11th to prevent and respond to various threats, most specifically those connected to terrorism. Yeah, right. While most of its counterterrorism focus has been on preventing Islamic terrorist attacks,
setting people up, putting bombs in their hands.
Yeah, the department is also supposed to examine domestic threats. The author of the report was a senior intelligence analyst named Daryl Johnson, who ran a small Homeland Security domestic terrorism unit. 2 years earlier, in 2007, Johnson was sitting in his bland second-floor office when he received a call from the Capitol Police, a first-term Illinois senator. So Obama is running for president. We need to look into this. So what happens is they set him up to do this report. By the spring of they set him up to do
Lieutenant
this report.
Dan?
In March 2009, Johnson says he and a few colleagues from the FBI briefed Janet Napolitano on their findings, theorizing that heightened stress because of the continuing financial crisis, coupled with the election of the first black president, created a unique driver for individual radicalization and anti-government and white supremacist recruitment. Military veterans, including those returning after multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, might be particularly susceptible candidates. They noted a prediction based on a 2008 FBI assessment found 203 individuals with military experience who had joined white supremacist groups. So this comes out, right?
Yeah.
This thing comes out, and Republican senators and representatives like Lindsey Graham freaked out about it. And they start yelling about him. People are like, he's making us criminals in our own country, in our own nation. So basically what happened was they just were like, fuck it. you know, right-wing terrorism isn't a thing.
They have the right to
we'll just
be-
focus on ISIS.
They have the right to be racist.
Yeah, that's what happened. So, you know, this thing goes on forever, and they talk about there's just so much
It's
to it.
hell, dude.
And nobody is taking this seriously. And that is the point that the police aren't going to take this seriously. You're not going to be able to vote this away. This is a real fucking thing. And if you're not attacking this and you're just voting, you're not doing anything. You're doing nothing, less than nothing.
Yeah.
You're helping. You're complicit. Not maybe helping. You know, I'm being mean a little bit there, but you know.
Turn the screws
So-
on them. Yeah, I mean, I think that...
But we got yelled. You get yelled at. Even though I voted, I was still getting yelled
I
at
know.
for not wanting to vote.
Exactly, because I complained about voting and thought it was worthless. People were mad about that because wasn't grateful to be able to vote. And it was like, fuck off.
So now
I don't have to be anything.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is like I said, I gave this no thoughts. I didn't look anybody up. I voted for anybody that wasn't Republican.
That's how I
voted
did.
for the issues that I wanted, and then I sent the fucking thing in the mail.
So now let's look at this story another story out of Tallahassee, Florida, real quick. A Florida State University student is being charged with battery after pouring chocolate milk on a volunteer at a Republican Party
I
table
didn't
on
read into
FSU's
this.
campus.
I saw the headline. What happened?
A warrant was issued for Shelby Shute,
Aw,
19,
man.
by the Florida State University Police Department on Thursday, November 1st, around 4:20 on the 420.
Hey, 420. Nice. Yeah.
Shute turned herself in and was
That-
placed
That
in the-
reminds me.
Yeah. On Tuesday, October 30th, FSU PD responded to Landis Green in reference to a reported battery that had just taken place. When officers arrived on scene, they made contact with the victim, who said she was volunteering at a Republican Party table on Landis Green when Shute began yelling at her, as well as pouring chocolate milk on her in 2 separate occasions.
Okay. Well, that's a great way to get someone to leave.
Well,
You'll
it's
survive
chocolate
it.
milk.
It's better than violence.
Well, now this Republican gets to call the fucking police, and they're gonna kick this girl out of school. Like, this
Yeah, I know.
girl is in a lot of fucking trouble.
Yeah, they consider this violence.
Yeah, this is violent.
This is left-wing violence.
Like, this pouring chocolate milk on somebody
That
does not get you taken out to the parking garage and let out of your handcuffs so you can go harass more Republicans.
But what if you had suede shoes on and someone put chocolate milk on them? Don't you think that's a hate crime?
Dude, I don't want chocolate milk on me at all. But you know what? I'm not a Republican, and I'm not
Don't
in
say
this
shit
new
to-
environment on a college campus.
I mean, I say shit. A lot of the stuff that I say, I really think that I should have something poured on me someday, but I'm
deserve it.
not going to be surprised.
I
I'm not
deserve
I'm
it.
not going to be like, "What? You should go to jail." It's like, well, I mean, I pushed that hard, you know.
Yeah.
I poke and prod enough that someone might throw chocolate milk on me.
We both deserve it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how we live in, right?
Yeah. Well, no, when you're outspoken with your opinion, somebody look.
somebody can do that.
I'm glad it's
It
chocolate
used to
milk
be
and
fights.
not piss.
Yeah, it used to be a lot worse.
Look, if it's diarrhea,
Right, that's
You know,
bad.
that's
yeah.
bad.
Then
I might-
then I'll be a little more censored.
I might have to file some assault charges in the people's court.
Yeah.
About a little bit about diarrhea. Or
I think that would
something.
shut me down. I'd probably keep it a little under wraps.
Really?
I don't want to risk a diarrhea.
Chocolate milk is like.
Good.
I mean, like, we can't arrest. Like, they arrested her.
I know they put a
They
fucking
put out
they
a
put a warrant. They were like,
warrant.
we hear somebody out here is pouring chocolate milk on annoying people sitting at a fucking table.
It's just
What were they doing? Who was this person that got chocolate
they
milk?
were just they doesn't tell exactly what
Oh,
they
they're
were doing. It
Republicans?
said they were Republicans tabling in like at the school. People were
It's not you guys bully us all the time. It's not fair. We just want to be patriots.
and the fucking FSU young Democrats like yelled about her too and said we
Yeah,
don't condone
we
this
know.
kind of violence. It's like she poured
they're-
chocolate milk on them.
Dude, they're stealing everything from us. They are taking everything. They are attacking people. They are the fucking enemy. They are not somebody to cooperate ever. Have you ever? Dude, I one time read this letter that George Bush wrote, and he signed his name when he was running for president. Yours in victory, comma George W. Bush. And I'm like, these people do not have the fucking will to win or the vim or vigor to to beat someone like that. They are way too fucking weak, man. That dude, that Cordry that lost, motherfucking pasta noodle, dude. He folded like a little pasta noodle.
He did.
He couldn't beat a goddamn
He had angel hair pasta.
Yeah.
Piece of angel hair pasta.
Yeah. Fucking nasty.
Yeah, you're right, dude. They don't. I used to say they don't
Say real shit.
I used to say they don't want to win. Like I used to think that it didn't matter if they won because they don't want to.
Do they read the same newspapers and stuff that say like people that were like, I was all the way for Bernie until they threw Hillary out there and then I went Trump.
Yeah. No.
Like they were just looking for anybody to say something fucking crazy up there that wasn't some bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all you have to do to win these fucking elections.
Yeah. You just have to speak clearly, basically. Yes. As long as you...
And to them about things that make sense.
Yeah. Be charming, maybe? Like...
Yes.
Bernie's not charming, but he's...
No, he is. Yeah. He has an answer for everything.
He does do that. I mean, I'm not in love with any of the Democrats, but I do feel that there is a part of me that thinks like, you're yelling at me to vote for these Democrats, and like, I'm not one of these people, but like I would say there are a lot of people on Twitter, right, that have just kind of, when Brett and I first started doing Street Fight in 2011, like we weren't popular and our opinions were definitely
no, everybody hated us. No, it was not fun to talk about drones when Barack Obama was the president.
We had like 15 fans, but fortunately they all launched very successful podcasts.
They did. Yeah, they all got 10 times more followers.
We had a lot. We had fans, and it was dank metal. Like I can name them all: Felix, Will, Matt.
Yeah,
that was it. But like, Jalbert out there, Monica, right? He was there. But I'm saying like it wasn't a popular thing to say. Now it is, and like my theory, Bernie Sanders sort of made that happen in that like he inspired a lot of people, like a big, huge amount of people from all different walks of life.
Sure.
He inspired. And then the Democrats said, shut up, sit down. You're a bunch of youngsters. You don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Fuck you.
You can't win this thing.
And that's why I think I think that makes us more like, that's why people don't want to be Democrats. Like I can totally not blame them.
Yeah.
For that. Like I can't blame anybody for holding a grudge because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and, it's I don't know. It's sad. It's a lot of work, and they will shut you down. And there is a possibility of trying to run your own candidates. But I saw a couple of small victories in like Texas or something. I didn't really get the.
They were judges, which is a good victory.
Right.
That makes a direct difference. I mean, you look at Philly. The DA in Philly is like badass, isn't he? Like he's like getting all kinds of shit done.
I can't remember what he did. I don't know. It's just, but it's one of those things where I know that I make my money off of this politics shit, but I do think that people have the time and effort, especially when I see someone that is live streaming brand new video games. I'm like, you could go to an IWW, you could go to an immigrants' rights protest, you could do one thing a month that would take 2 hours of your time and 15 minutes of travel time both ways, and you could actually make a bigger impact than you could ever imagine could come from the fucking vote, Yeah. Like the protests are just so poorly fucking attended, and the women's march was like huge. That thing was crazy big, and that made a lot, but we need more people actively engaged in the stuff that they at least care about instead of just saying they care about it,
Twice every 2 years.
Every 2 years, if people write it off, that's where most people are at. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. So I have a few other I got some odds and ends here that we got to do. I want to talk about this Portland police tweet.
I didn't see it.
Okay, I'm just going to read the tweet. The Citizen Radar Corps is a pilot program focused on addressing speeding through residential areas and school zones. Volunteers post signs that radar is in use and record the plates of cars that exceed the speed limit. Letters are sent to the owner reminding them to slow down. They got people out there clocking people.
Right.
The citizens.
So the citizens are, how do they get their information?
they fucking take a picture of the driver's license and then report it to the police. And then it's like, don't do that. Guys, look, I don't want people speeding through. Maybe put the signs up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we don't know how to handle this issue. This is something we need.
anarchism is failing on this
Yeah,
issue.
I don't know. I don't have a good radar on it because my street is so fucking cramped. It's like a cart and buggies is what they would made it for, that 2 people park on the side and you have to go slow. I saw somebody pop someone's mirror off more than one time, get too close. So no one goes over 20 in my neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, I am with you on, like, don't speed through residential areas. Like, please don't do that.
My kid wouldn't go in the street.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
but
you know.
I also do know a buddy of mine that drove a Mustang and let his kid brother borrow it, and they ended up fishtailing it through someone's fucking yard.
Right,
you know,
that's
crashing into a rock.
Yeah, just don't do it. You know, don't speed through residential. We can't figure this out. We'll figure it out eventually. Speed bumps work.
We need it.
The real hard course, not the humps, not a hump, but like the bump.
Speed bumps. I don't know, man. Don't they do too much damage to your car?
Not if you fucking drive home from slowly.
Speed bump. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the speed bumps work, dude. Not the humps. Like I said,
like
speed humps.
I like humps.
No, the humps don't work. Speed bumps work. The bumps.
The hard shit.
The actual hard shit.
Like the da-da-da.
Yeah, the ones that feel like it's ruining your car.
Yeah, that you can hear some extra creaks.
So somebody in our Facebook group posted a memo that they got at work.
Oh, this is pretty good.
The subject is holiday announcement, and the importance is high. I like it that you can issue an importance.
Yeah.
This is an important one for the holiday announcement.
Top of the to-do list.
In response to employee requests, blank will be celebrating the holiday season in a slightly different way this year.
Okay, mix it up.
This is a business. The business is actually called Terry Incorporated.
Okay, Terry Inc.
Yeah, Terry Inc. Instead of receiving a $50 gift in your December paycheck,
okay,
which would be this year,
$50. I like 50. Better than nothing. Should be higher. But if someone slips you a 50, you're like, hey.
50. Yeah.
You get. It's a little bump for a day. It gets you like an extra nice pair of shoes.
You go movies
or go out to eat. Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes it gets me halfway there to something. There's something I want for $100, and I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $100 on nothing.
Just gonna say this.
It gets me halfway there.
Just gonna say this. Insight, when I worked there, the cable company, $200.
Woo, daddy.
100 on one paycheck, 100 on the other paycheck in December.
We got at Abercrombie up to matching 100% of a full paycheck.
Okay, see, that's a Christmas bonus.
Yeah, that was real shit.
$50.
That was the best, dude. It was like an extra $600, $700.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing.
So I'm going to assume that instead of receiving $50 in your December paycheck, after that it's going to say, we're going to give you $300. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hoping for, $500. We should just get an extra $500 around Christmas.
Well, yeah,
like
there
that
should
just be a thing.
Second tax return, like we said.
Just $500. Just here's $500.
I think we should just call it Christmas cheer, and then everybody gets an allotment to spend on everybody else.
Right. I don't need an excuse like fucking like tax return. You just send me the motherfucking $500.
No, I just think it's culturally. I mean, fuck it if you don't want to use it. If you want to put it in college fund or you want to be a miser about it, whatever. But like everybody gets the extra money, because how the fuck are we supposed to provide a magical Christmas for these people when there isn't like a 13th month to make the money?
Right. I'm saying, so you're broke all the time.
Right.
The other 11 months of the year, and then you got to buy $500 worth of shit.
It's like a double rent. It's like paying rent twice.
I know.
It's like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
It's like credit cards and late payments on the utilities they won't shut off for 3 months.
Yeah. It's just cruel not to give a Christmas bonus.
It's fucked up. Everybody needs one.
This company, though, has decided, Terry Incorporated
Got it.
has decided
They went from $50.
they're not going to do $50.
Ooh, that is
you know?
cheap.
That's
That is
cheap.
so cheap.
They should be ashamed that they were doing this. Letter should be an apology letter for all the years they did $50 on the paycheck.
My
$50 on your motherfucking paycheck is actually $35.
It was, yeah, they're taxing that. That's a gift. That's a bonus. That's a 40% tax.
$50 at the cable company. They gave me $102 to cover that.
Oh, they
They
covered it?
made sure that you got $100.
Got it.
Like they were gonna give you $100.
Okay.
Okay.
Real deal, like $100 bill.
Well, they would give you 100, and then they'd be like, "That's it this year. That's all we're doing." Then on the next paycheck, they give you another 100. Be like, "Gotcha!" Be like,
Really?
I swear, that's how they did it. I was always so fucking excited. Like the second time, every time, the second check was always like, "God damn!" You know?
Yeah,
But
you were basically subjected to some sort of psychological medical testing.
You know what it's like?
I think you were like, they were testing you in some sort of way, like see how the people respond to that shit.
No, what
That's
it
like
is,
some
it's like when a
Oprah shit.
band
That's
does
like-
an encore.
It is. Yeah.
Like, basically,
We're
exactly.
gonna do it again.
When a band does an encore, that is what this was like. They loved it too. Manager was always feeling good, just smiling,
Yeah.
handing it out. He would give you a Cheryl's cookie to go with it.
What?
Like, here's a Cheryl's cookie too, motherfucker.
Wow.
Take home this Christmas. Yeah,
Can it be Christmas all year round?
I know. They could probably afford
we
to
could
have done
we
that.
could afford that
Yeah.
as a country.
$200, dude. I mean, there's only $200 too. $200 isn't even enough. But like when you hand it out in 2 separate installments,
Yeah.
it feels like it blew your fucking mind. You know?
Right.
So instead of receiving a $50 gift in your December paycheck this year, Terry Incorporated will be crediting each employee $50 to an online store operated by an apparel company. What?
Oh, what? What company script?
You get to buy a T-shirt. It's an apparel company.
It's
Terry,
one of
probably
those.
get a Terry Incorporated hat, Terry Incorporated shirt,
probably-
blankets. I have 100 blankets from my wife's company.
Most likely, it's Uline.
it is
Uline
Uline.
will embroider anything on a fucking umbrella handle for
Yeah, it's basically that that Oriental Trader
you.
magazine.
Yep. I still get that.
Yeah, it's basically that. My wife, after she worked at her company for 10 years, they gave her instead of a bonus, they gave her a catalog that had like
No, don't do this. Don't do this, company. Who thought of that?
I know, and she was able to spend like $200, but it was like out of this catalog, and it was all like not bad shit. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I bought an emulsion blender. You know what those are? It already broke. Like the thing broke.
yeah, it's
like
crappy
within
version.
Yeah, it's the worst stuff. I got a
So-
waffle iron. That thing was a piece of
Oh, that
shit.
panini that I saw with the top falling off?
No, that was a different thing. No, it was a waffle iron I have that we stopped using because it's the worst waffle iron, and a smoker that I got that fell apart like after no time. But it was like, here's this, man. You know, here's a good. It's not a gold watch,
Right.
It's not a bonus.
No.
You can get some of the
It's
stuff
whatever
out of
you
this
want.
catalog.
It's just get some stuff you've always wanted, you know, like a pocket chair.
So, employees will have until December 2nd. Why are they giving them a deadline? Yo, we got this to you on November
Yeah.
1st. Here's your catalog. You got till December 2nd to
got-
select a product with the items shipping directly to your home in mid-January 2019.
What is this bullshit? This sounds like we're running the apparel. Is this our apparel company? Did we sign up to do this?
This is Patreon.
Very,
They're getting
very
gumball
vague.
shirts.
Like you're gonna get it in like 8 weeks, okay?
Ho, ho, ho. It's January 15th.
Yeah. What is that? How is that a Christmas gift? Is that a holiday gift then?
I mean, you get to pick it before Christmas.
Well, the elves are going to be working overtime embroidering our company logo on this new baseball jacket.
Just like you, the elves are working late.
Yeah.
But we got you a satin jacket with
Yeah.
the name of the company on it.
There's a coffee mug that has your initials on it, so nobody uses your favorite cup anymore.
Check your email for the link and more information
What
about
the
this
fuck?
special offering. Next week, managers will be sending you individual codes to activate this credit during the checkout steps. See coupon. I will send the codes to the staff as he is. So the manager, but they got you got to type in a coupon code. You got to do all this fucking shit.
Imagine before getting a $50 bill handed to you, and instead you have to get silicone oven mitts with your company logo on them.
So embarrassing, dude.
They could have just given you before they were giving you $50, and they're like, let's switch it up.
But they're probably getting $25
Oh yeah,
for $50.
It's their finger hut salesman. Is that what you should call it? That was the original.
Oh,
they're
my
just
God.
doing a finger hut.
They so fucking crazy. They should be giving you fucking $200.
They're just the money. We preach this every single time. Don't be presumptuous and buy me a gift. You don't know what I like. You don't know me at all. You know?
You know what they used to
I
do
like
at
money
the call
for
center
what I
worked
do.
At? You know what they used to do at the call center I worked at? They would fucking mail you. You would get a box like a ring box, right? Like a ring
Velvet?
box,
Like a velvet
thing.
box?
It wasn't a velvet box. It was a cardboard box wrapped with and they would mail it to your house. You get
Okay.
this little cardboard box mailed to your house. I remember I've been working there for 1 year. They're like, it's your 1 year anniversary. We sent you a special gift. It's like it said special gift.
Yeah.
And it had all the stuff that said it was a special gift. I fucking open it up. It's one piece of candy.
No.
I
No.
swear.
No.
One
No.
piece of Anthony Thomas candy. It was like one turtle.
They could have. Why didn't they just pay someone to show up and slap you in the face?
Why didn't they fucking take it and ram it in my face? Oh, eat it. You like it, you fucking 1 year
You
pig.
pig, you get one treat. That's all. You like it. You're lucky you work here.
That's crazy. Like, how do they get? Why?
That's
executive-
embarrassing. That's rude.
And this is where I want to sit down and talk to the person that thought this was a suitable replacement. Like a fucking $50 gift credit for something, an apparel catalog with the company logo on it is nothing.
It's basically
less than nothing.
all of the same products that they sell on like a Myrtle Beach souvenir shop. That's what you're shopping. Like either they could say Myrtle Beach or they could say Apparel Co. on them. It's the same fucking quality of products.
Yeah, it's junk. It's garbage.
Thin,
And that's all my wife's
thin ass
bonuses.
see-through blanket.
Yeah, all my wife's, they got a store. They got a company store.
Yeah,
When
that's
it's bonus
script,
time,
dude.
they're like, here's your
No.
credits for the company store. And then it's like, well, I can just buy a bunch of stuff with the company store logo on
Yeah.
it. Great, thanks. A bunch of shitty stuff, too. Like, if this was even like they ain't giving you a Yeti cup with the
No,
company
no,
logo.
no.
Like, you're not getting, like, good shit with the company logo on it. You're getting actual fucking junk.
Yeah.
The cheapest junk that they have that's going to float in a big fucking ball in the middle of the ocean and never biodegrade.
Yeah,
You know what biodegrades? $50.
it sure
It
does.
biodegrades in like 1 minute.
Those things fall apart.
You give me $50 and I'm running out that door right then. And we're having dinner tonight. I'm buying dinner.
Yeah.
So yeah, Christmas bonuses all around. Everybody deserves
Everybody
a
gets
real
one.
bonus.
Everybody needs one.
Everybody deserves an actual real bonus.
Like a come up.
Yeah. I think that's the show, man. I did see another depressing story about how here's some quick stuff that had just came through. A really depressing story about how teens are being replaced at fast food restaurants by seniors, by the elderly.
Oh, really?
Like that's becoming a new thing. So that's a good world we live in. Like
Well,
now,
I already knew that. Like I said, man, all those gas stations, those employees got a lot more gruff.
But yeah, and now you're saying your grandma doesn't deserve $15
Yeah.
an hour. Nah, grandma don't deserve $15. How hard she working?
She's a goddamn bother to me. I wouldn't pay her anything. I didn't want her to be around.
Yeah, she racist. It drives me crazy. All
Yeah.
right, Brett. Talk
Thanks.
us out of this thing.
Thank you for listening to the show or watching on the live stream. We're at Street Fight Radio. You can find us twitch.tv/Street Fight Radio, youtube.com/Street Fight WCRS, facebook.com/Street Fight WCRS. Get on there, and on Patreon also. You can even sign up on Patreon. You don't have to pledge any money, but you'll get emails and updates once a month on what we're doing, when tickets go on sale, and everything that you want to know.
Can I stop you right here? On November 24th, Cleveland, Ohio, is Make Black Friday Red. It is a comedy show with music afterwards by Basement Boys. My buddy Worldwide, Alex Keller.
Professional wrestler
and guy in a band. I'll be at Hell on Earth the night before at Our Lady of Mount Carmel. But come to Make Black Friday Red. We will have a lot of fun. Brett and I believe, are staying the night in Cleveland that night. So
yes,
we don't have to go all the way back home. So we'll be hanging out. Come to the fucking show. I'm going to tell you right now, nothing this close is going to happen because the next thing is the West Coast. So it's going to be a while before we're back out in the Midwest. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So I'll be sharing links to all that stuff. Just check social media, Street Fight WCRS, and I'll make sure everybody gets a new update. There has been an issue with the Square store. We got shut the fuck down for CBD and Kratom. We're selling that on the low. StreetFightRadio@gmail.com. Send me an email, and I can get you herbal extracts and tea until I run out, and then we're out of that game because we don't want to go to fucking jail or get in trouble for it. But we were happy to have it for a very long time, and now we're moving on to other bigger, better things. So I'm ready for Street Fight to keep moving onward and upward, and happy that you're into it and keep supporting it. If you want to do that even further and you haven't made the choice, I promise there is a lot of fun stuff over on patreon.com/Street Fight Radio. You can get access to all the digital zines that we put out. You get access to bonus shows. We just did another episode of Undercover Business Tyrants, which was a lot of fun. So join up. We're trying to address this shit head on and make a better world with peace, love, and anarchy. We are Street Fight.